Let me officially welcome you to the third stakeholder convening on governance, democracy and human rights in Africa. I can't believe you are in your third year already. The objective of Data4Governance is to raise awareness about the AU's work, facilitating access to the African governance architecture, protocols and decisions, and equipping CSOs with data and skills to advocate effectively for governance, the rule of law and human rights in Africa.
And what I found most exciting thing about this project is the fact that we have forgotten so many small subtle things when it comes to the process of advocacy, that we have forgotten evidence. So when this project came on board, I felt that it has taken the ability to use evidence for advocacy to the next level.
So I think for me, what stands out is data. I'm very curious. Since we came on board this year to join the project, I'm actually curious as to how being part of the Data4Governance Alliance can actually help us utilize data to track how many countries have undergone transitional justice in Africa and how many countries have been successful or have successfully gone through this process, how many have failed, what do we need to do about it. But until we have such data, we'll keep talking about things, in abstract.
So I believe the civil society organizations have been very lucky. First is to get the opportunity to work with the African Union. For so many years we felt that the African Union is this big animal where the civil society organizations, especially at the grassroots levels, have not had a chance to work with. So the ability to network with the African Union, engage with the African Union in the event, so I think that's a big thing that they should carry forward, because beyond this project the collaborations must go on.
Well, first of all, I think we need to remind ourselves that after the transformation of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, to the African Union, AU, our heads of state and government declared the African Union as a people-centered organization. So the AU is no longer a club of governments. It is not a club of government officials. It is a people-centered organization. That means the participation and the engagement of civil society, the wider African civil society, in the affairs of the African Union is quite important.
The AU has set up so many mechanisms to enhance human rights, and from the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, the Children's Committee, the African Court, the ECOSOC itself, the Department of Political Affairs, where Ambassador Saleh and colleagues are, among others. We do very well in enhancing mechanisms for the African Union.
So one of the big successes that I could indicate here is our ability to work with the APRM, one of the AU organ that we used to always wanted to work with, but we didn't have a leeway to get into there until we got into this project.
We do believe within the AGA APSA platform that the use of data is quite important. Why? Because data will better inform the decision-making process. It's also, in fact, support the development of informed policies at the continental level that can support the governance process at the national level. And that is why we really count heavily on the data that is produced from this alliance, simply because it is an African-based data processes, and it is also a verified data because it is very close to the source of information at the national and also regional and continental level.
Well, two things that are uppermost in my mind. Firstly is to celebrate the work that we've done collectively together as civil society organization. I think this is very impactful, the fact that it brings all of us together from the different countries, and we see a lot of commonalities and possibilities for collaboration going forward.
Using civil society is very important, because then you use the bottom to top approach, because oftentimes we've seen that the top to bottom approach is not necessarily working because of political will, financial resources, human resources as challenges.
So for me, the fact that we can integrate evidence in whatever the civil society organizations do, and also like the fact that you can also bring them together to different regions within the East Africa, West Africa and South Africa, to just have them learn about data for advocacy. That has actually been very exciting.
Imagine if everyone was to come together to actually go to the different countries, whether it's Kenya, Namibia, Mozambique, and they go popularize the African Union Transitional Justice Policy. Look at the magic that we will create.
I think the most exciting part of our work together with other CSOs in this project has been the networking, getting to know what we can do together that we cannot do alone, amplifying our voices through the work that we do, and more importantly, to create possibilities for collaboration where we have co-authored papers together, published policy briefs and opinion pieces that use Afrobarometer data to enhance our advocacy efforts.
Very much. So there's much work to be done. Much work to be done, and you all have a role to play. Even in your own personal private lives, you're doing your own transitional justice in your family setting.
We've blessed the project since the beginning of it. We've been in support of it, and we've been in partnership with it, and we'll continue because we are quite happy with the way that the project is functioning.